G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it.
So, Elliot, thanks so much for making the time to catch up as we were just talking. Really looking forward to this discussion, and I think there's some really useful insights that we'll be able to gain from your experience and your skill set. Perhaps let entrepreneurs think a little bit differently about building wealth over the long term. So I guess as a starting point, I might get you to just introduce yourself and a little bit about what you do. Conscious that you wear a number of different hats, but give me a little bit of an introduction to yourself.
Rob, thanks for having me on. Much appreciated there. That's great. I am a CEO of Prosperity Financial Group. We are almost a $400 million wealth management firm here in Northern California, just below the Napa Valley in East Bay. And then I've got another national company that I'm CEO of, and I've got a charity that I'm CEO of that deals with teenage stress and depression with the goal of stopping suicide. So I'm not one of the people who has a lot of free time. I've been doing this now for the financial side I've been doing for 30 years since I moved to California. I love it. I'm passionate about it. I think I'm pretty decent at it.
Clearly.
And our goal is to help business owners, which is our 60% of our market, figure out how to make more money, pay less taxes, and sleep better at night.
Yeah, all worthy goals, I might add. And again, we're obviously going to have more conversations with you about all your range of activities. But today we're focusing on your work with Prosperity Financial Group. And I'm particularly interested as a starting point to understand, in terms of the business owners that you're working with, what's typically the pain point or the interest trigger that causes them to come and talk to you and engage with you guys?
I want you to think of the entrepreneurial life as kind of being 3 pillars, 3 phases. Phase number 1 is pure growth. I'm startup. I'm coming in 6-7 days a week. I'm emptying the garbage can. I'm trying to get it going. I'm trying to build a team around me, secure financing, get some people involved, maybe get a bank loan. That's the startup phase of life. That could go on your entire career, but because you're always in startup mode. But the second phase, usually after that, is now I've made some money, got a reasonable entity, and those are the people that come to us. I don't want to lose it. I still want to grow. I want more in life. But now I've got a house, I got some cars, maybe real estate, my kids are growing up. There are things happening, and I don't have a lot of free time either. And I want to make sure what I'm doing with my money is the right thing. And that's where you value the advice of people like myself. And that's so important. And then the third phase is the phase of, okay, I built something great. What's my exit strategy? Am I going to work till 90? Am I going to pass this on to my children, my heirs? Am I going to sell this and pass the money on to my heirs? Do I create a charitable legacy for myself? What is the next phase of life? And that can be a very emotional phase. And that's where they really need our help more than ever, because in the United States, the average senior watches 4 hours a day of television.
Wow.
And that is not a retirement plan.
Yeah.
We don't want that to happen. And so we work with people that are in that phase 3 when they recognize that they can't do everything well. They need financial help. They need some good, sound advice. We work with them on making sure that they've got retirement goals and financial goals in retirement that include a lifestyle. Doesn't matter what that lifestyle is: hiking, biking, mountain climbing, going to the outback, world travel. It doesn't matter. That it's just not, they have real tangible goals.
Yeah, fantastic. So if we were to look at, I guess, let's focus in on that second phase that you were talking about. And you were saying that's where people really start to value the advice. Does it make sense that people should be engaging with you in the first phase? Or is it really, look, you're too busy, you don't have the cash flow, just focus on your business, get that cash flow coming in, and then in the second phase, that is the right time to be engaging?
Smartest move is to seek professional help early on.
Yeah.
Best move.
Common theme across all.
They'll tell you that in every MBA program. Surround yourself with experts.
Yeah.
Because you cannot be the expert at everything.
Yeah.
But there's a big ego when you're an entrepreneur. And you've got to make sure you have a vision, and you're bouncing off the wall. Sometimes you're a pinball machine.
Yeah.
Monday you're doing this, Wednesday you're doing that. You're wearing hats all the time. So you really don't make a lot of time for professionals. You learn to hate lawyers, you hate accountants, you hate financial people. And then suddenly a bell goes off and you realize, oh, wait a second. All these people can bring me value, save me a lot of time, and inevitably, even though they cost money, can save me a lot of money.
Yeah.
Can make me a lot of money by saving money. But it takes almost a level of maturity and a level of sobriety as an entrepreneur to say, I can't do it all. I can't, and so that usually comes with a little bit of maturity.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And again, it's a common theme across all sorts of professional advice. So what's the usual process that you would take a business owner through? And I guess I'm also curious to know, and whether this is tied in the same question or you treat them separately, but what are the common mistakes that people are making as they're working with you in terms of managing their financial affairs?
Okay, that's great. These are great questions, Rob. For that business owner, again, not trusting experts is their number one mistake, and particularly not surrounding themselves with people that really get money.
Yeah, okay.
Because if they really get money, then they're starting a manufacturing company or then they're not going to be doing that. They're going to be worried about the money. But if they can just do what they do really well and get people around them who really understand their money and care about their money, they're not putting their hand in their pocket, they care. That's the best thing they could do. For us, the problem that you have with a lot of entrepreneurs is they're always investing back into their business and never investing back into themselves. So they're never taking profits out. They're just hoping that they get big enough one day to have big profits. And that's why for most business owners, their largest single asset is their company, their business.
Yeah, it's very common.
And their largest single transaction in a positive way is the sale of their business. They need to monetize it. So the mistake is not understanding that and not taking care of you first, or your family first, or your spouse first. Whatever is important, it can't just be your business first. And so in life, there's a balance between your business, your family, and your children, or your business, your spouse, and your children, I should say. How do you be a great business owner and a great husband or wife and a great father or mother at the same time? You cannot do that. One is always out of balance every single day. The good, solid business person works at getting them back into balance all the time and recognizing, Rob, that they're always out of balance. Today, I need to wear my business hat. I'll get back to everybody else. On Saturday, I need to be dad and nothing else. And then if I do those two without understanding my marriage, I'm going to be single pretty soon.
Very true.
Yeah, so you've got to work on those. And that's what we teach, is that balance in life.
Yeah, fantastic. What are some of the tools or techniques that you use to help people find that balance?
Mostly it's education. It's conversation education. I just wrote a book called Driven by Elliot Kallen, which is a shameless plug here, Rob.
Plug away. Well done.
A shameless plug. Anyway, it's a book about the journey of being an entrepreneur and being a leader of your team. And for a lot of people, or for some people, let's take the founder of Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. Mostly he has pretty much a straight line in life going up. But you know something, most of your friends and most of your clients and most of your listeners, they're not like that. They have zigzags. And sometimes it's 2 steps back and 1 step forward. And sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And it looks more like a series of Z's than it does a straight line.
I can relate to that.
I wanted to put that in writing to let people know that tenacity and vision and fortitude make up the difference of success and failure if the opportunity is right. So if you're an entrepreneur with a vision, write it down and look at it every day. Put it in your shower so you don't forget your vision. If you're worried about tenacity, then get one of those phrases like Nike of never give up, because that's tenacity. And if you're worried about fortitude, that means that you're going to have the strength to see it through. So figure out something that's going to remind you that you have it in here. Because if you didn't have it in here, you wouldn't have started your business. You just might forget along the way.
Very true. And I think this is really interesting, Elliot, because we're obviously talking about You work with Prosperity Financial Group, which people would think, oh, I'd go and work with someone there who's just going to focus on managing money or telling me where I should invest. But really, you're saying, if you want to get to the point where you've got peace of mind, it's not just all about the money. It's also about how you balance some of those life priorities and how much focus is going on money versus some of the other priorities in your life. Am I interpreting that correctly?
You are, because, if you walk through a cemetery, there's never is it written on a tombstone, he had enough money, he wished he had more money, he gave away his money. That's not on a tombstone.
No.
It's great father, I'll pick the man side, great father, great mother, wonderful son, committed to his family. That's really your legacy in some form. So money is just a tool. So when the money becomes the worshiping product, you're in real trouble.
Yeah.
You just are. It's got to be the tool to your success and a vessel, but not the answer.
Be the change you want to see in your business. Become more productive and less stressed with our free Transform Your Performance online course. Once you see the benefits, put your entire team through the course at no cost. We start out by telling you the secret to guaranteed success, then over 100 lessons help you be more focused, present, productive, and feel more in control about work. growasmallbusiness.com.
So what would you say are some of the biggest financial lessons that you've learned over your career? And obviously your career, many different hats that you're wearing, and obviously you've created some success. There must be a bit of wisdom in there, particularly around the financial side.
This is the third set of companies I've started, even though there are three of them here. The first one was, after being a public accountant, was I started an industrial packaging company. Right. And the mistake, lots of great things. We grew from 0 to 5 million in just a handful of years with 35 employees, and I sold it. But the challenge I had there, the learning lesson, and that entrepreneurs have learning lessons. They don't have failures. And so the challenge there was that I didn't understand that you could actually grow out of your money, because we were growing at 20 and 30% a year and always running out of cash. And
at some point,
at some point I woke up, because I did not surround myself with a strong financial person. I found myself in debt and not happy about it. And my wife and I went to a New York Jets football game one day, and we found ourselves the entire game arguing about the company in the stands.
Right.
I thought, wow. And I sold the company on that. That was that biggest learning lesson, is surround yourself with really good people. And when I got in this business, I had a deep friend of mine who said, Elliot, the smartest thing you could do is go buy a bunch of people out in the financial services business. Don't start from scratch. And I didn't understand them. I started the hardest way you can, from scratch, in a new area, California, coming out of New York, knowing no one, and clawing my way up, scratching on the walls. That's too hard, and I don't wish that on anybody. And yeah, I'm on the other side of that today, but boy, was that painful. There was a time in my career 30 years ago, Rob, I could have gone to McDonald's and gotten a raise.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I don't wish that. Find out what the most successful people do in your business and do that, or even do it better. But don't recreate the wheel unless you really have an unbelievable wheel.
I think that's really insightful. I mean, we work with a whole range of business owners who are at the small end of the scale. I'd say, at a guess, 60 to 70% of the business owners we're working with have probably started from scratch. But I think there is a really good argument for starting off by a small acquisition to get your toe in the water, where you've got an existing client base, you've got, maybe a couple of existing staff, and you've got something you can begin with. Is that what I'm hearing you're suggesting?
I think that is a smart move, if that's possible. Not every industry you can do that in.
Very true.
But if you have that ability, find a mentoring company or a mentor who's done it in front of you.
Yeah.
And can give you advice. It's still your company, still your body, still your mind. You don't have to listen to the advice. Like my dad, I'll give you an example. We always missed our parents. So when I graduated Rutgers University in New Jersey, I had a dual major, accounting and economics. The economics is the one that I really liked, but you had to get a master's degree to continue in that world. And the accounting, I had a job in Big 8 accounting at that time. And boy, that was instant money. And that's all I saw. And my dad sat down with me and said, hey, you don't have an accounting personality. If you want to be an economist, do that. you're going to want to be in front of a room and loud and fun and humorous. And nobody makes more fun of me besides me. I mean, I'm always getting one up on myself. Accountants don't do that. So, but what I did is I took my dad's great lesson and I said, well, what do you know? You're my father. And I totally discounted it and dismissed it. And it turned out he was right. Let that be a lesson, everybody, right there.
I think most people I know have probably had that lesson. So, but you certainly don't take advice from your father. Yeah. And I guess sort of along the line of financial lessons, and you've obviously talked a little bit about some businesses you've exited along the way. You talked about exit strategy sort of being the third phase in the entrepreneurial journey. Is that also something you would advocate people start thinking about early in the journey? Or do you think it's something you should leave until you're established and you know sort of a little bit more clearly where you're going?
Well, so there's a famous motivational speaker named Stephen Covey back a long time ago who said, always begin with the end in mind. But most entrepreneurs don't begin with the end in mind. They begin with the beginning.
Yeah.
There you are. And so did I.
Maybe next week in mind if they can get that far.
So, but if you're within 2 to 5 years of your retirement or your exit, this is when you really need to give it thought. Right?
Yeah.
Because maybe it's time to get a new habit that you haven't had. Maybe even playing golf, and that's going to be your habit. Or world travel, like I said, or great food or great wine, or maybe you don't have a great hobby, so you want to spend a lot of time with your grandchildren, and that's going to be your hobby. You're going to age. The fewer hobbies you have, the faster you will age. Because the more you will think about everything wrong with you. I know it. I mean, we're human nature. If your shoulder is killing you, then every morning you're going to think about how your shoulder is killing you. But if you've got a place to go today, there may be no time to think about your shoulder.
No, good perspective. So, Elliot, if there was one piece of advice, and I know we've covered a whole range of topics today, but if there was one piece of advice you had for somebody who's starting up a business and trying to grow it, what would that one piece of advice be?
It would be create your vision, seek it out, and surround yourself with smart people.
Yeah, I think they're fantastic. And certainly themes we hear come through again and again as we're talking to people who have done the journey and been successful to varying degrees. But yeah, no, that's fantastic. And I guess just finally, if people are interested to learn a bit more about you and the businesses that you're involved with, how do we find you? I'm assuming social media?
Yeah, all over social media, best Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and I'm at Elliot, ELLIOT. The website is prosperityfinancialgroup.com. And my cell, Rob, is 510-206-1103. So they can reach me. Keep in mind that you guys are a little bit off on my time zone. Keep in mind, look up on your phone before you call me. What time is it in Northern California? And then so you don't call me at 3 a.m.
Brilliant. I love it. Well, Elliot, thanks so much for sharing some wisdom. And like I say, we'll have to revisit this chat at some point and explore some of the other areas of your career. But
I would love that. Congrats on reaching a great audience.
Thank you.
Want to help other small business owners improve their business? There's one quick thing you can do, which is jump over to iTunes and leave a review. Or if you don't have an account, follow us on Spotify.